Today we're reviewing what an awubis is, and the correct term for an awubis is what, Austin T? A subordinating conjunction. Very good. And so we look for subordinating conjunctions. We have a list in our binder that tells us what a subordinating conjunction is, and they help us find our dependent clauses, and that's what we were working on today. So, for example, we had although as our signal word. Although is a subordinating conjunction, and it introduces the clause, although Terry likes a good game of cards. And so we're just practicing finding our subjects and verbs. So for number 6, who can tell me in a safe habitat has been mandated for the fringe-toed lizard so that it won't become extinct? Who can tell me where the subordinating conjunction is? Jake? It's a little more than just that. So that. That by itself can be, but in this case it's so that. So if so that tells us that we have a dependent clause, what is the dependent clause? The dependent clause is everything that includes that signal word. Will? Well, it's got to include your subordinating conjunction. Very good. So that it won't become extinct. So you should have that underlined on your paper. And if that's our dependent clause, what should we be able to find in it? It's what makes a phrase different from a clause. If that's telling us we have a clause, what should we find after it that we need to label? Austin? And a subject and a verb. So, it won't become extinct. Won't is a contraction for will not. So, what's our subject in there? It will not become extinct. What's the subject, Brad? Oh, we're over here, though, just in our dependent clause. It. It is a subject. What's our verb phrase? We're looking for a helping verb and another verb. Austin? Just won't become or will become. Now we've got to remember become. What kind of a verb is become? Is that an action or is that a linking? Was that on our linking verbs test that we memorized? Am, is, are, was, were, be, being, been. We had our 5 senses and grabs. Grow, remain, appear, become. So that's a linking verb. What follows a linking verb? Subject plus linking verb, a PA or PN. So we've got to think, is extinct a PA or PN? We can check to see if it's a noun. What do you put in front of a noun to see if it's a noun? The. Is it the extinct? Does that make sense, Anne? So it's got to be a PA. Very good. So if this is a dependent clause, what's the other part of the sentence called? Kayla? The independent clause. And for our independent clause, we're going to go through and find our subject and verb as well. What should we get rid of first? There's something in that sentence that we don't need. What can we get rid of in that sentence? Any prepositional phrases or infinitives? Jake? Very good. For the fringe-toed lizard. And what should we label lizard as? Very good. It's the object of the preposition. It's the end of the prepositional phrase. So we're left with a safe habitat has been mandated. What's our subject then there? Connor? Habitat. Very good. Habitat's our subject. We've got some adjectives. What kind of habitat? A habitat. A safe habitat. Now I'm going to guess there might be a word in here that we don't know. Does anyone know what mandated means? If you mandate something, you make it into a law. So that's going to be part of our verb. Who can tell me the entire verb phrase? What's the verb phrase going to be, Austin? Has been mandated. And we want to think, looking at our main verb, is that action or linking? Well, did we memorize mandated on our linking verbs quiz? Am, is, are, was, were mandated? So it's got to be an action verb. All right, and there won't be a direct object because that sentence is done. We got rid of our prepositional phrase. Because she wants to lose weight and be healthy, Shazzy now eats nutritious meals. So we're looking for our dependent clause. Find the subordinating conjunction to help you find the dependent clause. Where is it, Jake? Because. If because tells us we have a dependent clause, then what is the dependent clause? Austin? Very good. It's that whole thing, including because. So underline it. Because she wants to lose weight and be healthy. Now, there's something in that dependent clause that we can get rid of. And be careful, Kayla. What's to lose? Very good. I'm glad you didn't say that was a prepositional phrase. It's an infinitive, to plus a verb. And we're going to ignore everything after that infinitive. Let's just look at what's before it. She wants. What's the subject? Anne. And the verb? William? Action or linking? Action. Now, if we couldn't find a subject and a verb here, then that's not going to be a dependent clause. It might be a prepositional phrase or something else. It has to have a subject and a verb to be a clause. So let's look at our independent clause. Shazzy, don't you like these names? Shazzy now eats nutritious meals. So what's our subject there, Brad? Shazzy. And what's our verb? Be careful. What's Shazzy do, Jake? Eats. Very good. I had a lot of people that are labeling now as a helping verb. It's not a helping verb. We didn't memorize it as a helping verb. It tells when she eats. It's an adverb. So we want to look at what does she eat. Shazzy eats what? One word. Meals. That's our DO. What kind of meals? Nutritious meals. Very good. Okay. On to number 8. If every day were like this one, I would never have to worry about it again. Find our subordinating conjunction to find your dependent clause. Connor? If. So Connor, if is the subordinating conjunction, what's the entire dependent clause? Very good. If every day were like this one. So within that, we've got a prepositional phrase we could get rid of. You want to see it? Over here? Like this one. There's a prepositional phrase. So what's our subject, Anne? Day. Every child describes which day? Every day. And what's our verb, Kayla? Were is action or linking? Linking. All right, on the other side, what do we call the rest of our sentence? If that's the dependent clause, then what's this, Austin? Independent clause. And Austin, do you see anything we can get rid of in our independent clause? Almost. Sounds like it's got to end with a noun or a pronoun. And so if about's the preposition, what's the phrase? About what? Just it. About it. Anything else we can get rid of in that sentence? To worry. That's an infinitive. So, what's our subject? What's our subject, Brad? I. And our verb, or verb phrase? I what? Keep going. Would have. Actually, would have is an action verb. Never, we haven't really talked too much about them, but no, not never. They kind of get stuck in the middle of a verb phrase. They're actually adverbs, but we're going to go ahead and just kind of include them this way because we haven't spent too much time on adverbs yet. All right. Very good. We're going to go ahead and do the rest of them on our own.